Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we're going to talk about meaning coming from player characters, and how, when we think about player characters, we're going to talk about the double-sided mirror today, right? Understanding IRL better, and using IRL to understand Dungeons & Dragons better, specifically the focus of player characters. So let's talk about Brian Cox, and let's talk about Cop 26, okay? So who the heck is Brian Cox? Well, Brian Cox is a very modern, very secular scientist, okay? And he was recently talked up there was an article done in the New York Times, and he was giving speeches telling people how absolutely catastrophic our climate change issue really is. And what he is saying, as a secular scientist, not as a religious person, is saying that basically our Earth is melting, okay? Most scientists believe that today. And there is a very real possibility that if the right choices aren't made, the Earth could become uninhabitable by humans in as little as 50 to 75 years. Right? So we are literally talking about the survival of the human race, right? And what Brian Cox said is that, like, people are talking about extinctions of species, but what he said is, listen, the problem is so much worse than you think, because meaning comes from complex biological machines. Meaning occurs when there are sufficiently complex biological machines. So what he's saying is, if humans die, we have zero proof that there is any other intelligent life in the universe, and even though there would be life, like animals and microbes on other planets, all meaning could be gone because there are no sufficiently complex biological machines left. Right now, I love this because I'm an evangelical Christian, right? So I'm like, hey, Jesus died for us. Like, we're the whole ball of wax, baby. You're like, this world has value because God gave it value, right? But I also realize I live in a world with a lot of lost people. They're not saved. They don't believe in Jesus Christ, right? But I love when a completely secular scientist is saying, we're the only thing that gives this universe meaning. That's what he's saying, right? He's saying, we're it. We're the most important thing in this universe, right? And I just love that you have this super secular scientist saying exactly what evangelical Christians have been saying forever, right? So how does that reflect on Dungeons & Dragons? Well, here's the thing. One, I really want to... there's a huge debate in the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition community over, do you as a dungeon master bring your story to the player characters and then they engage with your story? Or do you take the 10, 15 long, do you take the longest origin stories that are handed to you by your players and then craft your world from their player characters? I'm for the second. I think the best Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaigns come out from dungeon masters putting the focus on player characters and saying, hey, you gave me a 10-page origin story. I'm going to incorporate everything, and my world will be birthed from your creativity, right? Or do you come to the table with your notes and you're like, oh, I can't really take your 10-page backstory because it doesn't fit with the 3 things I have scrawled in this notebook already. My world just doesn't work like that. And what I'm saying is, the player characters bring meaning to your campaign. Put them at the center. It's really important. And if you do, your ability to surpass other 5th edition dungeon masters is going to excel. And meaning comes from our player characters. For evangelical Christians, meaning in this universe comes from the fact that we're loved by God. And this whole universe was created for us to bring glory to Him. For secular scientists, they're saying, oh my gosh, if humans stop, and I'm so happy to see the secular world saying, if humans stop existing, that's a problem. Because there literally won't be any meaning left. Because there will not be sufficiently complex biological machines to provide meaning for the universe. All that, and so I agree with Brian Cox that humans are the important thing, and I think extension of understanding what Brian Cox was presenting to the 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference, that if you understand what he's saying, you put your player characters at the center, and that means their 10-page, 15-page backstory trumps your notebook scrawlings. That's my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.